The firearms industry built one belief decades ago: below $250, expect compromises, feeding failures, substandard tolerances, guns built to hit a price, not a reliability standard. That narrative drove generations of upselling. Most buyers never questioned it. 5 pistols dismantle that logic entirely. 5 others confirm it. The difference has nothing to do with cost, and everything to do with what the manufacturer chose to prioritize. 10 pistols, 1 price point. Here's the truth the industry buried under the upsell. This video is for educational purposes only and does not promote harm or unsafe use of firearms. Number 10. Kel-Tec P15. The Kel-Tec P15 is one of those pistols that instantly splits the firearms community the moment it's mentioned. On paper, it looks like a dream. Ultra-slim profile, high capacity for its size, and a price point that sits comfortably in the budget category. But here's where things get complicated. Kel-Tec has always been a company known for innovation that sometimes outruns refinement, and the P15 carries that reputation on its shoulders. At first handling, it feels almost too light, almost too minimal, like a design that was optimized for concealment more than long-term punishment. The trigger is workable, but it doesn't deliver the same crisp confidence you get from more refined competitors. And under fast strings of fire, the recoil impulse starts to feel snappy in a way that challenges control. Some shooters report excellent reliability, while others point out inconsistencies depending on ammunition and break-in period. That unpredictability is what keeps the P15 in the avoid or be cautious category for many experienced carriers. It's not a useless pistol, far from it, but it demands patience, testing, and the right expectations. In a world where defensive firearms are expected to perform instantly under pressure, the Kel-Tec P15 feels like a gamble some shooters are not willing to take. Number 9. Taurus GX4. The Taurus GX4 is one of the most debated microcompacts in the budget concealed carry world, and that reputation didn't appear by accident. When it launched, it promised everything shooters wanted: small footprint, high capacity, modern ergonomics, and an aggressive price tag that undercut most competitors. On the surface, it looks like a breakthrough carry pistol for everyday defense. But the reason it often lands in avoid discussions is not because it's completely unreliable, but because its consistency story is mixed, depending on user experience and production batches. Some shooters report thousands of flawless rounds, while others describe early issues like rough break-in behavior, occasional feeding sensitivity, or quality variation between individual pistols. In the hand, the GX4 feels surprisingly solid for its size, with a grip texture that locks in aggressively and a trigger that is better than older Taurus generations, yet still not quite at the level of premium microcompacts. Under stress shooting, recoil control is manageable but slightly snappy, especially for newer shooters who expect a smoother impulse. The biggest concern for many experienced carriers is not dramatic failure, it's unpredictability. In defensive firearms, predictability is everything. And that's why the GX4, despite its strong value proposition, often gets placed in the proceed with caution category, rather than being universally recommended as a duty-level carry gun. Number 8. Beretta APX-1 Carry. The Beretta APX-1 Carry enters the concealed carry conversation with a name that carries serious legacy weight, but expectations don't always match real-world impressions. Beretta is one of the oldest firearms manufacturers in the world, known for military and law enforcement service pistols. So naturally, people assume even their budget carry line will reflect that same elite consistency. The APX-1 Carry, however, sits in a more complicated space. It's compact, modern, and designed for deep concealment, but its shooting experience feels more utilitarian than refined. The slide has aggressive serrations and a solid mechanical feel, yet the overall recoil impulse in such a lightweight frame can feel a bit sharp, especially during extended range sessions. The trigger is serviceable, but not exceptional, with a longer take-up and a break that doesn't quite match the crisp standards set by higher-tier carry pistols. Reliability is generally acceptable, but some shooters report it being more sensitive to grip consistency and break-in periods than expected from a Beretta-branded handgun. This creates a divide. Some users trust it as a backup or entry-level carry option, while others feel it lacks the polished confidence required for primary defensive use. In that gap between expectation and experience, the APX-1 Carry often gets placed in the be cautious category. Number 7. Smith & Wesson CSX. The Smith & Wesson CSX entered the market with a bold idea: bring metal frame character back into the modern concealed carry world dominated by polymer striker-fired pistols. On paper, it sounds like the perfect blend of old-school durability and modern compact design. In reality, the CSX ends up in a more controversial space depending on who you ask. The aluminum frame gives it a solid, dense feel in the hand, something many shooters immediately appreciate compared to ultra-light micro-compacts that feel almost toy-like. However, that same weight distribution and design philosophy also creates mixed opinions in daily carry comfort. The hammer-fired system offers a different shooting experience with a more mechanical and deliberate trigger feel, but it also introduces a learning curve for shooters used to simpler striker-fired systems. Some users praise its control and stability under recoil, while others find the trigger inconsistency and reset feel less refined than expected from a Smith & Wesson modern release. Reliability is generally solid, but not universally praised as boring dependable, which is what most concealed carry owners want. Instead, the CSX feels like a niche choice, strong in character, strong in feel, but not perfectly balanced for everyone. That's why it often sits in a debated category rather than being a universally recommended everyday carry pistol. Number 6. Kimber Micro 9. The Kimber Micro 9 carries the kind of visual appeal that instantly attracts concealed carry buyers. Sleek lines, classic 1911-inspired styling, and a compact frame that feels more like a precision instrument than a mass-produced pistol. On the surface, it looks like a premium, pocket-sized defensive weapon designed for shooters who value refinement. But when you step beyond appearance, the Micro 9 becomes one of those pistols that divides opinion sharply. Its single-action trigger delivers a crisp and clean break that many shooters absolutely love, especially those coming from a traditional 1911 background. However, that same system also demands more discipline in handling and training compared to modern striker-fired alternatives. The gun's smaller size and tight tolerances make it comfortable to conceal, but they also mean it can feel more sensitive to maintenance, lubrication, and ammunition selection than some bulkier defensive pistols. While many owners report excellent accuracy and smooth shooting characteristics, others highlight occasional reliability concerns depending on break-in period or ammo compatibility. This inconsistency is what keeps the Micro 9 from being universally recommended as a primary defensive handgun. Instead, it sits in a more specialized category, beautifully engineered, highly capable in the right hands, but not always the most forgiving choice for everyday carry users who prioritize absolute simplicity and zero-maintenance confidence. Number 5. Tisas PX-9 Gen 3. The Tisas PX-9 Gen 3 is one of those pistols that quietly enters the market with almost no expectations and then slowly starts destroying assumptions. At first glance, it looks like a typical budget striker-fired handgun trying to compete in an overcrowded space, but once you start running it, the story changes fast. Tisas built this pistol with a level of mechanical honesty that surprises most shooters, tight slide fit, solid frame construction, and a shooting experience that feels far more expensive than its price tag suggests. The recoil impulse is soft and predictable, allowing fast follow-up shots without losing sight alignment, which is exactly what you want in a defensive handgun. The trigger is another strong point, offering a clean break with a short reset that makes controlled shooting feel natural rather than forced. But what really earns respect is consistency. Round after round, the PX-9 Gen 3 keeps cycling without drama, even under mixed ammunition conditions. There's no unnecessary complexity, no fragile gimmicks, just a straightforward fighting pistol designed to run. In a world where many budget guns try to imitate premium platforms, the Tisas PX-9 Gen 3 quietly proves that reliability doesn't always need a premium price tag. Number 4. CZ-P10C. The CZ-P10C feels less like a budget pistol and more like a warning shot to the entire striker-fired industry. When CZ entered this category, they didn't try to copy existing designs. They refined them. The result is a compact handgun that feels instantly familiar in the hand, yet noticeably more controlled once you start shooting it. The grip angle naturally points the muzzle on target, almost eliminating the awkward adjustment period many pistols require. Under recoil, the P10C stays flat and composed, giving the shooter a level of stability that inspires confidence during rapid-fire strings. The trigger is one of its strongest advantages. Crisp, consistent, and surprisingly refined for its price class. It doesn't feel like a budget compromise, it feels intentional. Reliability is where this pistol truly separates itself. It runs with the kind of boring consistency defensive shooters actually want. No drama, no surprises, just cycle after cycle of dependable performance. Even after heavy use, it maintains its mechanical integrity without loosening or losing precision. The CZP-10C isn't trying to be flashy or overly tactical. It's simply a well-engineered fighting pistol that proves budget-friendly doesn't have to mean low quality. Number 3. Canik TP9 Elite SC. The Canik TP9 Elite SC is one of those pistols that forced the firearms community to completely rethink what a budget handgun can actually deliver. When it first hit the market, many expected a decent copy of higher-end striker-fired pistols, but what shooters got instead was a compact carry gun that performs far above its price class. From the first magazine, it feels smooth, controlled, and deliberately engineered rather than cheaply assembled. The recoil management is impressive for its size, staying surprisingly flat even during fast follow-up shots, which makes it a serious contender for everyday concealed carry. The trigger is where Canik really changes the conversation. Clean break, short reset, and a crisp feel that rivals pistols costing significantly more. It gives the shooter a level of confidence that directly translates into better control under stress. Reliability has become one of its strongest talking points, with many users reporting thousands of rounds without meaningful issues. The slide machining, grip ergonomics, and included features like optic readiness make it feel like a complete package rather than a budget compromise. The TP9 Elite SC doesn't just compete in the budget category, it challenges premium carry pistols by offering performance that feels unfair for its price range. Number 2. Stoeger STR9 Compact. The Stoeger STR9 Compact doesn't rely on hype, aggressive marketing, or flashy branding to make its case. Instead, it focuses on something far more important: quiet, dependable performance. Built under the Beretta family umbrella, this pistol carries a sense of inherited engineering discipline, and it shows the moment you start handling it. The frame feels solid without being overly heavy, striking a balance between concealability and shootability that many budget pistols struggle to achieve. When fired, the STR9 Compact delivers a predictable recoil cycle that stays manageable even during rapid strings, allowing the shooter to maintain target focus without fighting the gun. The trigger is straightforward, nothing exotic but clean enough to support consistent accuracy under pressure. What makes this pistol stand out in the budget category is its reliability profile. It tends to run with minimal drama, feeding a wide range of ammunition without hesitation once properly broken in. The controls are simple and intuitive, making it easy for both new and experienced shooters to adapt quickly. The Stoeger STR9 Compact doesn't try to reinvent anything. It simply executes the fundamentals correctly, which is exactly why it earns a place among budget pistols that consistently run without failure. Number 1. Ruger Security 9. The Ruger Security 9 is built on a philosophy that has kept Ruger relevant for decades. Keep it simple, make it durable, and ensure it works when it matters most. At first glance, it may not look like anything special in a crowded field of modern striker-fired pistols, but that simplicity is exactly where its strength lies. The design avoids unnecessary complexity, focusing instead on reliable function and practical everyday use. In the hand, it feels balanced and familiar, with ergonomics that make it easy to control during extended shooting sessions. The recoil impulse is soft enough for quick follow-up shots, making it a very approachable option for new shooters and a dependable one for experienced carriers. The trigger is not competition grade, but it is consistent and predictable, which matters far more in defensive situations. Where the Security 9 truly earns respect is long-term reliability under real-world conditions. It tends to run with minimal issues, even when exposed to varied ammunition types and less than perfect maintenance routines. That kind of forgiveness is rare in budget firearms. The Ruger Security 9 doesn't try to impress with innovation. It wins through consistency, making it one of those pistols that quietly earns trust over time, rather than demanding attention up front. Outro. At the end of the day, budget doesn't mean weak, and expensive doesn't always mean reliable. The pistols we covered today prove one thing: real performance shows itself under pressure, not in marketing brochures. Some of these guns quietly outperform expectations every single time you pull the trigger. Now the question is simple: If your life depended on it, which one would you actually trust? Drop your answer below, subscribe, and stay locked in for more real-world firearm breakdowns.